Good morning, interwebs. It is Saturday, October 16th, 2010. Today, we're going to go with a little bit different approach to my, as opposed to my normal videos. We're actually going to check out a picture of me. Yep, this whole game is about me. No, not really, but that's a funny story, actually, as to where I've been in the past couple days. So I went out, and I bought this game, Civilization 5. I think it was Thursday night. Yeah, Thursday night. And so I let it download and whatnot and get everything installed. And I loaded up about 8:30, and I start playing it. 8 o'clock rolls around. 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 1 o'clock. I get to like 7 in the morning. And, I'm still playing this freaking game. I didn't even realize that I was still playing it. So it's just that awesome. And so I was thinking like, oh crap, I've really got to make a video. But I really want to keep playing. So I went to bed because I was really tired. And I was like, alright, first thing I'm going to do, get up, make a video. Alright, cool stuff, cool deal. I get up. I definitely start playing Civilization 5 again. It is just that good of a game, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot begin to tell you how awesome it is. So, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of give a brief walkthrough, not really going to get too involved with it. As those of you who are familiar with Civilization games know, these games can be incredibly drawn out and can get kind of tedious at times. What I'm going to show you is the gist of it. Some of the options you've got at the start, and some of the ways that they've improved on the previous civilizations. Maybe there were some things that you didn't like before that they've changed now, and you'll get a chance to see it. So I'm just going to point out the basics and go along and show you. I'm actually just going to show you the beginning, how you start out, and then I'm going to load my current game that I've been playing for the past, I don't know how many hours, and you can see what it's like at the end game. So, you can see there's a bunch of options here. You've got video interface, yada yada yada. Of course, if you want to see any of these in depth, you can pause the video and check them out. But we're going to fire up a single player, but first I want to show you multiplayer. It's a little bit easier than previous games. If you want to get into multiplayer, just click multiplayer, internet, bam, there they are. When I'm making this video, it's actually really late right now, so I'm not that surprised there aren't many cockles. Why would you even? Okay, I don't know why you would name your game that, but Cockles Spangler is currently looking for 3 more players, just an FYI. So anyways, you can also do local network, but for now, we're going to go to single player. And you can do play now, which just kind of gets you into, you can see the default settings there. You can set up game, you can load game, or you could do the tutorial. Setup game is what I would suggest. You can choose your leader. You can pick, of course, each one has various attributes and whatnot. So I found Washington was the closest match to my playstyle, and so I picked that. You can pick the type of map, and that's pretty self-explanatory. The Earth, they actually did a really good job of making the Earth in comparison to previous civilizations, so we'll pick that. And you can choose the map size. I've never actually done the only game I've played is Huge, and on like the epic thing, so I'm just going to do dual difficulty. We're going to set the settler because I'm only going to do like 2 turns on it. And game pace, you can see that there's quick, standard, epic, and marathon. The game I'm playing right now is marathon. Holy crap, I'm on like 1,300 turns, and I'm still going. So for this, we're just going to go quick. You can also see there is an advanced setup where you can pick even more stuff as well. So again, you can pause the video if you want to check it out.
Welcome, President Washington. You lead the industrious American civilization. Formed in the conflagration of revolution in the 18th century, within 100 years the young nation became embroiled in a terrible civil war that nearly tore the country apart. But it was just a few short years later, in the 20th century, that the United States reached the height of its power, emerging triumphant and mighty from the 2 terrible wars that destroyed so many other great nations.
Okay, so you can listen to the rest of that later if you decide to buy it. But this is how you start out, and already you can see that the UI is pretty much similar, but there are some changes. First of all, I like how they changed the clouds, or they changed the fog of war to clouds instead of that big black, shroud fog of war stuff. So I like that a lot. And also, ooh, looks like we spawn right next to some ruins. You start out with a settler. This is how you build your first city. Your unit menu is over here. You've got found city, move mode, do nothing, sleep, and additional options are right here. So for this, I'm just going to plop the city down. And I guess when you plop the city down, you get automatically, it discovers any ruins for you. So we got that. So now you've also spawned with this warrior. And there are some additional ruins over here. You move the units around by left-clicking a unit and then right-clicking where you want it to go. Pretty straightforward. And in those ruins, we found some money. Sweet! I wish I could do that in real life. Just go down the street and walk into some ruins and find some random crap. That'd be pretty awesome. But anyways, you got these workers here, and this is one of the nice things I like about Civ 5 is that it kind of condenses everything for you. Into pretty much everything you need to pay attention to is right here on this side of the screen. So you can see we need to build something. Click that, and it brings up the building queue for Washington. So click a monument, and if you decide to get this game, there is a very, very big help menu that has, you can see, directions for literally everything. So I'm not going to lie, it is a civilization game, so it is fairly complex compared to a lot of other games available. But it's also been a lot more simplified than the previous versions. I noticed that really Firaxis just chopped off a bunch of the excess stuff. A lot of the buildings that were in the previous Civilization games aren't there anymore. And you can't see it here, but pretty much every building that you can build throughout the game has a purpose, and it keeps that purpose through the entire game. In the previous Civilizations, you know how there were walls, and they would become obsolete with gunpowder units. Well, in this, you can see this number right here, the city combat strength. The walls actually just give +5 defense, and the defense counts towards this number. And this is kind of your overall city's ability to defend itself. You can garrison one unit in the city, and it will increase this number according to the strength of the unit. But you don't have to garrison a big junk pile of forces into a city anymore to make it defendable. Cities will automatically fire at opposing units, or whatever. Well, they won't automatically fire, but it'll come up with the ability to fire if they are within range of your city, like you see the circle right here. Or if they decide to attack you, of course, your city will fire back automatically. So anyways, so yeah, you can also check out the research tab right here. I'll actually close that. And it's got the first 4 researchable technologies, and the technology tree is here, and you can see it's pretty expansive, and it is a good job of telling you what you need, when you need it, and what kind of benefits it gives, all the way over to feature tech. So that's kind of the super basic explanation of it. Of course, you've got your advisors. They kind of give you a brief overview of what you need to do, kind of tutorial advisor type things. So generally pretty accurate and pretty helpful. And you've also got your diplomacy, which later on down the road you'll have all of your opposing nations, your allies and whatnot listed here, and you can talk to them. And then finally you have your social policies. This is actually something new to Civilization. Whereas they got rid of religion in this version, and instead they have put these kind of miniature talent trees, kind of like World of Warcraft, a little bit. But you can say adopt tradition, and you can read that it will immediately provide a bonus of +1 food per turn in the capital. And then you can kind of get these talent points, and they kind of... I'm sorry, don't have a script for this. I'm just kind of thinking off the top of my head here. As you get research more and more of these, they become more and more expensive. It kind of grows as your civilization does. So it takes a little bit longer per talent as the game goes on to get, but a lot of these are really worth it, especially the commerce and the rationalism. I found these two to be particularly helpful. It's because they've got this one, Scientific Revolution, 2 free technologies. When if you get that at the right time, it's amazing. So anyways, they've also got these. This one is really good for large empires. This one's good for if your play style is more militaristic, and this one is for small empires. So anyways, I'm going to close this out, and now I'm going to load up my game so you can see what it kind of looks like in the end game, sort of. Alright, so we are now back and into the game, and you will notice it is kind of laggy, and that is because I started out really zoomed up high. So, you can see on the map, there's this kingdom right here. This is actually mine. I've started off, I think, right here. Yeah, Washington. And I think I'm building this Apollo space program or something like that. Anyways, this is what it looks like when you have reached near the end of the game. I am in the modern era, and that is just before the last era, which has the robots and stuff, and that's all good times. I'm sure I'll get there in the near future. But for now, you can see that it does share a lot of the same qualities, especially graphically, with the previous civilizations in terms of, options available. You can see there's railroads. These are kind of new. They're trading posts. I'm not too sure if those are in previous civilization games. I don't remember them. But anyways, you've also got observatories you can see here. You can see the walls. And like I was talking about earlier, the defensive number, city combat strength, you can see that's increased right there, and you can also see the type of unit that I have garrisoned in a city. As I said before, you can only have one unit in the city, or on any tile, for that matter, at a time. So you want to make sure that your unit is generally pretty good. And of course, you can upgrade units. So if you have some random swordsman laying around, I think I have a musket man here, you can upgrade him to a rifleman, and it costs gold. So I'll upgrade him, and he will hang out there. So the way you access the city production tab, if you don't have a little thing over here that says, you can build, you just click the name, and it brings up the tab. And it lags again, so I'm going to zoom in here to cut down the lag a little bit. So they've simplified the user interface, and I actually really like it. It gives you all the basic info right here, really easy to read. Tells you what you're currently building, and tells you how far you are towards producing your great people, your merchants, etc. They're kind of like heroes in a way. I guess as close as you could have to heroes in the game. Let's say you produced a great engineer, you would be able to build, say, a factory. I think it's a factory right here that has a greatly increased output of materials that can be used for producing buildings and units and so forth. So you can see the specialist buildings here and what they do. So very easy to mouse over, and this is the same in the building menu right here. So if I were to change production, you can see exactly what each building does. Good synopsis of the information. And like I said, a lot of the stuff should look very familiar to Civilization fans. It's just they took the essence of the game, the core of it, they chopped off all the fluff, and they really produced an exceptionally fun game. So you, especially if you like the longer games, what I do is when I buy this, I will play it maybe once every 2 or 3 months, but then I'll try to make the longest game possible. So that's actually what this is, and you can see right now I'm on turn like 1313 right now. The game ends at 2050, and so yeah, I'm just about done. And the game zooms around and picks units that are available for movement and whatnot. So this is my helicopter gunship, who is hanging out just outside of Seoul, which happens to be parked near the Middle East. Alright, that makes perfect sense. Well, you can obviously tell that you do not start where you start in real life. If I did, I'd be over here in North America, which I'm terrible for. I haven't explored yet. And so, instead, North America is brought to you by the letter C and I, and I know there's a number 5 in there, Roman numeral 5 somewhere. So, anyways, if you get lost in the map, which, I see my helicopters right there, but if you scroll around and you can't find your unit, but it's selected, click it, and whoosh, there you go. So, you can also upgrade units. They do have experience, and as you upgrade a unit more and more, it actually gains access to different kind of talents and whatnot. So very cool stuff there. And one thing I liked about this version is that helicopters, and I'm not sure about other aerial units, but at least helicopters can invade cities and capture them. And you can see right there, they did a really good job with the graphics compared to the old ones. I like they actually have the gun plus the rockets for the... I guess this would be the closest thing to a Hind as this game would have. So, they also